Do you feel like nothing seems to be working for you? I mean, no matter how many times you put goals to paper and you do everything that all these motivational speakers talk about and different successful people talk about in their podcast interviews and different forms of interviews, it just never seems to be going right for you. Well, in this video, I want to explain why that's actually a good thing for you and why that could actually benefit you in the long run to eventually obtaining and getting towards those things that you aspire to the most. I really want to start with a video that it was back in university. I was playing football at the time, and at the end of the year, after each year, you always meet up with the coach and you do an evaluation, probably like a 30-minute meeting, maybe a bit longer if needed. And the coach brought me into the room. He said, Furman, you're doing really well. We like where you're headed. You contributed a lot this year in terms of your play and what you did, not even on the field, but off the field too. And it was a very light conversation at first. And, every time I go into these meetings, I always want to ask a couple of questions. And this year and this time around, there was something that I was prohibiting myself from doing because I was fearful of what the outcome could potentially be. So in football, for those who play, who don't, if you have an understanding about one-on-ones in anything, whether it's basketball, football, soccer, I mean, the worst thing is humiliation, right? Like getting embarrassed, especially in front of your teammates, especially in front of the people who are behind you, because, no matter what, as long if your teammates, like people are gunning for your spot. So any opportunity they could see as weakness or vulnerability, like they want you to exploit yourself, right? So that they have the opportunity to show who they are. So every practice we would have one-on-ones, every single practice that season. And I asked my coach, I said, Coach, I know I'm doing well and everything like that, but one thing that I hold myself back from and I noticed was, when we do one-on-ones, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm fearful. Like I'm scared to like jump in and get a lot of reps. Like, we have very talented receivers. I mean, like we were the top defense at the time when I was playing in our conference and maybe top 5 in Canada. But I was very fearful of this, and I was a starter. I was a high contributor to the defensive side of the ball for my position. And I said, Coach, like, I'm just scared of taking the L. And he smiled, he laughed. And me and my coach, we got along very well. But essentially what he had told me was, you got to stop looking at L's as losses and look at them as lessons. And the more times and opportunity you give yourself to learn from these lessons, the better off you're going to be as a player. And that's essentially what separates the small amount of people who make it to the professionals versus the average person who just comes to college and then goes into a career afterwards. And I never really heard that concept. I mean, I was probably only like 19, 20, and maybe some of you have heard that concept, but it blew my mind. Like literally in that moment, I was like, it changed my perspective of what an L really was. And I've always carried that on in life, period. Like, I've been an entrepreneur. I've tried to do it coming out of school for a couple of years. Failed, like numerous things failed, like honestly, like numerous things. I can't even count at this point. But again, I always looked at them as an opportunity to grow in self-development. And I also looked at them as lessons that I would need to apply later on once I did find my thing, the thing that would make me successful, how I've always planned to be. And again, it's disappointing because at first, because again, like when we go back to goal setting or stuff like that, you have an expectation, like you want to accomplish the goals in a certain timeline. When I remember when I was younger, I wanted to be the athlete of the year in high school. The first year around, I played 2 high level sports. I wasn't the athlete of the year to a guy that only played 1 sport. But the next year, it carried a fire and desire in me, which then propelled me to do even more than I was doing before, training harder, playing even at a higher level for both sports, and making sure that, it was going to be known that definitively I was the athlete of the year. And that's what ended up happening. So again, it's these things that we must learn. But in this video, really, what I really wanted to share was the 5 levels of failure that are going to get you to success faster, whether it's your goals, whether it's the vision board, whatever it might be. If you can get to the 5th level, or at least get to the 3rd level of the 5 different levels and tiers that I'm going to be talking about, you are going to exponentially, you are going to exceed anything that you ever thought of or imagined of by even just putting it on paper and reading maybe affirmations or, you know, your goals or anything like that. So again, this is what I wanted to get into this video. And, you know, just starting off, going back to my story, you know, the first level is ability. I mean, 100% of people have the ability to do anything, really and truly, right? The ability to fail. Now, what does that look like? Well, I had the ability to fail. I knew that, you know, going in and going, you know, basically taking more reps at the thing I was fearful of, I had that ability. I knew like I was supposed to do that. And it's something maybe you know you're supposed to do, but you don't fully engage in, you don't fully want to do, which again prevents you and holds you back from really getting over the hump that most people let block them, similar to the concept I was talking about in the other video with the pike. Now, the second level is your willingness. So again, like this is kind of built up, you know, you want to, and I would say only about 20% of people actually get here. 80% stay in the ability phase. Only 20% of people actually get to the willingness. Like you know, I could do this. Yes, I could fail. It's okay. I have not so much the desire to, but I'm more comfortable with the idea of doing it, but maybe only a couple of times. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to fail too much, because then I'm going to be a failure, and I don't want to be a failure, which is obviously the wrong mindset. But that's what willingness is, and only about 20% of people can actually get to this level of, they're actually willing to fail. They're you know, it is something that they could do and accept. Maybe it's only a handful of times, maybe it's only a few times, maybe it's a dozen times, but there is some type of limit and barrier there as well when we get to the level 2. Now, the third level is your wantingness. This is more so the desire. Like, I need to fail. And this is what I grew to understand in that conversation with my coach, is that I needed to have a desire to step in front and take other people's reps, because I was counted on for my team and for myself too. I had goals to go to the professional level, and I said, well, if I can't do it against my peers in practice, what made me think I could be a pro and go in front of thousands of people and get paid to do it, and I can't even do it in practice, and I'm going to shy away from it in practice? So now I had this desire, once I was told to not look at it as a loss, but look at it from the lens of a lesson. And again, I can't even describe what that feeling is like. Like that desire, like the wantingness, like, get out the way. I'm taking this next rep. I'm going against the best guy. It doesn't matter what the situation is, the scenario is. I want to do this because I know I have the desire to do this. Now, the next level is bigger and faster. So this is level 4. You want to be failing bigger and faster. So once you've gotten comfortable, once you've got over what 80% of people do, and then you've moved past the 20% of people, more so this is a group of 20%, right? You haven't moved past them, but some of them will go on to the next stage. Probably only 5% make it to level 4 and actually to level 5. And again, level 4 is bigger and faster. You want to fail bigger, you want to fail faster. This is the best route to success. If you're going to fail, go all in. I mean, that's typically the saying that we have, but it's a true statement. You need to go all in. You need to do this as big and as fast as you can. And stop delaying it with your actions. Stop delaying it with your mindset. Stop delaying it with your attitude. Just go all in and see what happens. Because the bigger and faster that you could do these things, the quicker you're going to learn, and the quicker you're going to be able to adjust and find solutions. But if you keep delaying it and keep putting that 1 foot in, and then you come back out, 1 foot in, 1 step forward, 3 steps back, you're not getting anywhere. You're going to find yourself 6 months later in the same position. You're going to find yourself 1 year later in the same position. You're going to find yourself 10 years later still feeling like you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over, while other people are flying by you. Other people are succeeding at exponential rates and quicker and faster. It's because they've grown to the concept of, I need to do this faster. I need to do this bigger. And that could be goals. Maybe one goal for 1 year is $100,000. The next goal for the next year is $500,000. You're going to have to go at a bigger and faster rate in order to get that 500,000, because you're going to need to be able to turn over things. You're going to need to be able to find the solutions that are going to benefit you in the long run when it comes to that. And finally, the fifth level is, exponentially. I mean, this is the level where it's no longer about you. You've succeeded. You understand the concept that failing is going to equal my success if I'm able to want it, if I'm able to do it bigger and faster. And now exponentially is not only yourself, but you're encouraging other people as well to fail with you, to understand that failure is okay. And that's essentially where my coach was at. He was at the level 5, where he was encouraging me. He said, Nathaniel, if you want to be great, if you want to be the best player in the league, you're going to have to take those reps. He was pushing me. He said, you're going to have to take those reps. You're going to have to learn those lessons. You're going to have to get, into film study. Break yourself down. Watch yourself. What kind of steps are you taking incorrectly? Where are your eyes at? Where are these different mechanics and different techniques and skills and stuff like that? You're going to have to break those things down. You're going to have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, how bad do you really want this? Because if you want it bad, you're going to take people's reps. You're going to allow that fear to become something that helps you be the best player that you could ever expect to be. And right now, you are a pretty good player to great player. But if you want to take that next level of you're in a separate tier, a separate bucket than these guys, this is what's necessary to do. And that's what we must do once we understand these concepts, and not only understand them, but you want to be applying these concepts. You want to be showing people the journey. You want to be showing people your failures or mistakes and things. But not only that, you want to encourage people as people that you have that have high value. You can see the potential in them. You can see that their mindset's in the right place. They just need a bit of encouragement and a push in the ass so that they could achieve and get to the things that they want to get to. So again, as we look at it, it really is me, fail, success. And if we could break the barrier, if we could get past the 100% of people, if we could get past, let's say, the 15% of people, then that leaves us in the tier of the 5%ers. And we know that, the most affluential, the most rich, and it doesn't have to be just money, but definitely money provides stability. It provides you the leisure to do what you want to do. So people who say money is not everything, well, that's bullshit, because at the end of the day, if you didn't have to pay bills or have to worry about bills for the rest of your life, you would definitely be happier and doing a lot more things that you want to do versus what you don't want to do. So yes, financially, that's the goals that we're trying to achieve here, but it could be applied, like I said, to anything. I use the story of football. I use, the athlete of the year, entrepreneurship, just a whole bevy of things that I've experienced in my life to understand that You got to go through these things. You got to go through the shit. My dad just told me the other day, if you want to make $1 million, you got to go through 1,000,000 problems, you know? And that's just a metaphor. That's just a concept, but it's real shit, because at the end of the day, no one just hands you $1 million. And the people who opt to make $1 million, they had to go through some turbulence like you wouldn't believe. Most of them failed, not only failed, but went to rock bottom. They hit rock bottom and got their ass back up and challenged themselves to get better, to be better, and to do better, and to figure it out and find solutions. And that's what you're forcing yourself to do, because that's what winners do. At the end of the day, winners, we're always going to find solutions. There's nothing when I was a kid, I was always curious. I never used a manual, and I always figured it out. And that's really what it takes to be a winner. You're always going to find a way. Floyd Mayweather says, I always find a way. I always find a way. That's what winners do. We always find a way no matter what. So I wanted to leave you guys with that. I hope that helps you. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the video. Let's start sharing the content now. Appreciate you guys checking in, man. And I hope this one, again, helps you guys with your journeys. Let me know in the comments if this does help you with your mindset shift. And yeah, man, good luck to all of you. I'll see you in the next video, God willing. All right, peace.